It's not been officially announced, but John Rothstein had a Sean tweet.
Thought he was sleeping.
That, yeah, you know what? It is May. But he woke up and said, Nebraska, Oklahoma are going to play in Sioux Falls at the Pentagon on the 15th of November. First out there, but not the date, was Robin Washut. So give him some credit, John Rothstein. But on a bye weekend, the bus is going up Interstate 29 to the Pentagon to Sioux Falls to watch Nebraska and Oklahoma play. You want some nostalgia? Jimmy will get this because I had to explain to you who was in the Big Eight. How about this? So I think
you would have liked the Big Eight
again. I think I would have been a good Big 12 guy.
Great sport.
I really think I would have thrived in the Big 12.
You hit a home run with the Big 10 teams, so you were good.
Yeah. I got them all, guys. I know every single one of them. Not like I grew up 15 minutes away from one of their stadiums.
That team in College Park.
There's like 4 teams in Texas. Let me figure it out. Don't tell me Bishop.
I think it's like I think Nebraska athletics should do well up Interstate 29. Mm-hmm. They dabble in some Sioux Falls. They dabble in some Kansas City. I'm a big fan of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm an even bigger fan than the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. I think Omaha missed out on building a facility like that. But the people they have running it, they've been very aggressive in putting great college basketball matchups. I mean, neutral site game, it's a unique place. If you have not been there, go there. And you have an opportunity because Nebraska and Oklahoma are going to play on the bye weekend. Mm-hmm. Now the Nebraska women are going to play the following day. And this has now become a tradition, a yearly thing that Nebraska goes north and plays. You know, Creighton went up there and played BYU. Omaha plays north of Sioux Falls and Brookings and south in Vermilion. But there was one year that Omaha and South Dakota played at the Pentagon. And Omaha will work out at the Pentagon. So it's a cool place. But you want some nostalgia. Not just going in that building and looking at the old school and the floor that's got 17 different lines on it. You don't know what 3-point line you're supposed to use.
It's like the old days when we watched basketball.
What if we did this? What if we had an old Big 8 tournament?
The holiday tournament?
A holiday tournament where
screw the Bicentennial Center in Salina.
8 Big 8 teams. And Nebraska has played a couple of them since they've left the Big 12. But what if we played a Big 8 tournament? We could do it. We could do it in Kansas City. We could even go to Oklahoma City. We could come to Omaha and have a Big 8 holiday tournament where you have 4, then you get 2, and then you get 1.
Phillips 66
Can I go one step further?
Over it. Getting Doug Bell?
Doug Bell
still
could come back.
Yeah. Can I go one step further here?
Okay.
Let's do just tournaments across the country where everybody goes back to their original conference for like a week.
That's
and
true.
They play in that tournament.
Got to do Southwest
Penn
Conference.
State goes back. Maryland goes back. Rutgers goes back.
Ooh,
right? You just
Penn State has nowhere to go to.
Creighton back into the Missouri Valley Conference.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Hey, bring the Shockers up here. I'm sure Creighton fans will love to get at them.
I don't know. Maybe Power. If you switch from Power 5, so you said Oklahoma and Texas back, and then here's an even better one. You do a Pac-12 tournament.
No, it's Pac-10.
Or Pac-10.
Yeah, if we're going to stay, you got to do it right.
Pac-10. Do a Pac-10 tournament. Why not? That'd be great.
Because Utah being the
That would be
West.
fun.
Yeah.
If you all everybody, hey, for a week, we're going back to when this was fun. We're going back.
When it was simpler.
When it was simpler and when it was regional and we didn't all hate ourselves.
When your Saturday game was on your local CW or UPN affiliate.
Just for a week, let's just go back. No, and by the way, no Amazon Prime, no Netflix, no Peacock.
There's no such thing.
No
regular TV.
It's all literally half these games are on the CW.
So so Nebraska hasn't played Oklahoma since they left the Big 12 in basketball, I don't think.
Not of recently, no.
Yeah, I don't think
so.
So
They've played Kansas State regularly. They've already played KU.
They played Colorado, but that was an exhibition game.
As long as Hoiberg's at Nebraska, him and TJ are not going to get together to play Iowa State. But Creighton and Iowa State played, the Big 12, Big East. Mizzou, which Mizzou wants nothing to do with Nebraska.
I don't get that.
Or the Big 8. Really.
Is that a SEC Big 10 thing? Is that a
I don't well when Nebraska left the Big 12, there was and hey.
Oh, Roy Halou just scored again. Sorry, continue.
Mizzou left the Big 12 as well.
Yeah.
There was, like the Big 12 schools, nobody's playing Nebraska. But Mizzou won't even now, the SEC versus the Big Ten. I'm a big proponent. Let's play in football. They won't play them in anything. By the way, you know what? Hey, how about go and win a baseball game?
Yeah.
Mizzou baseball is 0-24.
Softball? Was it softball?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mizzou baseball
Mizzou baseball used to be really good.
Is 0-24.
Max Scherzer.
Good Lord.
Yeah, but they've never really invested in the program.
Yeah.
Even when Tim Jameson had it going well there.
Still, baseball isn't going to baseball for you at one point in a conference season?
No, they won't. It would be ideal for Mizzou to play Creighton, Omaha, or Nebraska, and they don't. I think Omaha went to Columbia a couple of years ago. Of course, Omaha softball, which good luck to Mike Hurd at 11 a.m. this morning. Nebraska, by the way, plays at 10. Creighton also plays today. We're in a softball state.
Gorgeous day.
Omaha went to the regional in Columbia last year and almost won it.
Wow.
So Mizzou has played Nebraska nothing. Has Oklahoma State and Nebraska played in basketball since the days of the Big 12?
I can go back and look.
I don't
looking. Once again, not of recently.
Creighton in the Missouri Valley Conference. I think Drake is the only team formerly of the Missouri Valley Conference that they have played. I think it might have been in Doug's last year or second to last year. They had a home and home with Drake. They also maybe have played Northern Iowa, and it was early in the tenure of Mac.
Now,
but they had they haven't played Wichita State. Right. They haven't played Illinois State. They haven't played Southern Illinois.
What other what other former Big 8/Big 12 teams has Nebraska played in basketball? Like played Baylor, but that was in a NCAA. That's not scheduling, so I don't think that really counts in that regard.
There's no real desire for Nebraska and Texas to get back together in sports.
I mean, they've played.
Even though that would get the blood
volleyball would be first and foremost.
I mean, they played Kansas plenty in basketball, and you would think if they're willing to play Kansas, like there would be other Big 12 teams that they're willing to go at it with. I'm looking through here. I mean,
Texas Tech, no. Texas A&M.
I don't think that.
Well, NCAA tournament, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. I'm all the way through 15, 16. I can't really find anyone new. I mean,
oh, there we go. Okay, I guess I vaguely.
So Nebraska, thank you, Adam, at the Pentagon in 18. Played Oklahoma State.
Yeah, shouldn't known that. That was a good one.
Hey,
it's weird.
So the Sioux Falls area is really divided between Nebraska fans, Iowa fans, and there's some Minnesota fans there. And then you got to throw in the Jackrabbit fans, and you throw in some Coyote fans. But you look at that's why I think Nebraska. Up and down Interstate 29. We'd like Nebraska to spend more time in Omaha. I think dropping in to play basketball at the Pentagon and having men and women play up there is pretty key. Because Nebraska football recruits in South Dakota. Now, they got Nash. Last couple of high school prospects out of Sioux Falls haven't panned out. They got one that's in the class of 26. One of the top offensive linemen in the Midwest actually is going to Iowa, who is from the Sioux Falls area. And then down in Kansas City. Nebraska should have a brand up and down Interstate 29.
I'm glad that.
Creighton should as well.
Why not?
Creighton they used to recruit Minnesota heavily, and they've had a South Dakota connection as well. But now that they've morphed into the Big East, they don't get as many. They don't have like every year we got a Minnesotan on the roster. Now they have Jackson McAndrew right now.
You're right though. They should go to Kansas City.
War number 40 Hansen from South Dakota.
I think that I'm glad that Nebraska's in the Big Ten. Okay, I'm glad that Nebraska is positioned themselves in the Big Ten in one of the
needs
Power
all that
Two,
money?
Who they're
I can't wake up at 6 a.m. and drive to Minneapolis and make it for an 11 a.m. kick.
Okay, so that's where I'm getting at. That's where I'm getting at.
5.
Being sarcastic.
I'm glad they're in the Big Ten, but the fact that they haven't been able to consistently give fans the ability to not travel less than 4 to 5 hours to go to away football games or go to away basketball games, and that hasn't been made a priority, or maybe it has been made a priority, but they haven't been able to get it done. Regardless, that is frustrating. That is really frustrating, because if Nebraska played at Kansas, that would be a fun road trip that people would take down to Lawrence, and you would pack that stadium and you would have a great time. If they played at Missouri, if they played at Kansas State, they played.
Well, they were closer to when Bill Moose was here. They were closer to doing a home and home with Kansas State than they've ever been.
But the most frustrating thing is that you have all these teams and you have the changing landscape of college football, and you would like
Taylor
to go
Martinez
to these away
ran all
games,
over
but
them.
Nebraska has taken the stance of, look, we're not going to play tough non-conference road games. We're just not going to do that. And they proved that when they said, no, we're not going to Tennessee. And so to think that in the near future that they're going to be like, okay, we are going to go on the road to play a Big 12 team that's close to us so our fans can go to away games, or we are going to go on the road to play an SEC team in Missouri where our fans could travel to. And, they're not going to do that. That's just not going to happen. And that's an incredibly frustrating part, that like the closest drive is what, 6.5 hours to Minneapolis, Minnesota?
No, you can make to Iowa City in 5.
Okay, 5.
You run traffic on the other side of Newton.
But that's always tough too because it's cold if you're going all the way
Cars
to
have
Iowa
heat.
City, and it's the day after Thanksgiving, and you're a little hungover in the stomach and in the head. And,
Wow.
I'm just saying. And it's you're in enemy territory. They're probably not all that nice to you.
I mean, it's Iowa City. It's not Vietnam. It's not that bad. It's
Hey,
cold.
we will always have 2034 if we can hang on for a home start of Nebraska, Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
What are the chances that remains on the schedule?
No shot. No shot.
That's 9 years from now.
No shot. No way. There will be, but there might be like a.
What about Oklahoma in 29-30?
We could make it there.
Only if TV says, guys, you got to do this. This is good stuff.
We could make it there. I think it's dependent on what's the stadium project looking like.
No, it might not be that. Well, if the stadium project isn't done in 29, you aren't doing the stadium project. But it could be predicated on what happened yesterday, is that ESPN made it public that they're willing to give more money to the SEC if they go to 9 conference games, which going to be weird, the timing, because the SEC has their meetings later this month in Destin, Florida. The College Football Playoff Committee doesn't meet until next month. They won't go to 9 if they don't get their automatic berths. But if they go to 9, does a Nebraska, Oklahoma home in 29 go away, or does it fall under a scheduling alliance between the Big Ten and the SEC?
I think